Right. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the meaningful goal setting. Because I really struggled with a title for this because when my mentor ran through this with me in her group, I was actually blown away by the difference I felt going through this process to how I normally feel about goal setting. Now, Joe, you put a couple of comments on the Facebook group about how you feel sometimes about goal setting and some questions you had. What were they?
Oh God,
can you remember?
I think it was going back to the beginning and what are goals? How are they different from like aims and objectives? And do they have to be smart so they're achievable and realistic, or does doing that confine it to not being ambitious enough and you not being fearless?
That's right. I love that. The way you said, does smart confine you to not being fearless? And I think that's a really common thing, is that we've got this tension between, if we set a goal we know we can't achieve, then what's the point? That can be demotivating. But at the same time, if we set something that's extremely achievable, where's the motivation? Where's the stretch? Where's the excitement? Where's the passion? And all that kind of stuff. I think that's the great question. And one of my experiences has been that I actually find goal setting a very emotionally challenging experience, because in my experience, especially in the workplace, whenever I set a goal, it's used to beat me over the head if I don't achieve it 100%. I don't know what other people's experience is. So at work, I'm very cagey about setting goals. I want to make sure it's something that I can actually achieve, and not something that if I miss it because of external factors or anything, it's held against me in a performance appraisal. Yeah. So that's part of it. And then the other thing is setting those huge, massive goals that I really, really want to do and not getting there. And so I've always struggled with lots of those things. Mary, are there any questions you have about goals or experiences you've had with them that we could look at tonight as well?
I liked what Joe said about goals versus aims and objectives. And when you mentioned about things being used against you, one of the things for me, particularly in the corporate world, is that if you set a goal, it's how you're being measured. Therefore, I like everything to be very black and white, because if I'm going to get a pay increase on this, I want to know exactly what's expected of me, so then I can push back and say, I have done this or I haven't done this, so that there's no room for...
There's no grey area.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think there might be another webinar in the future as to how to set goals in the workplace.
Yeah, and I think it's different from like a personal goal of like what I want with my horse or something like that.
Yes. So what we're doing is actually a holistic approach to goal setting for ourselves. Okay. So we're going to start with a little exercise, and then I want to get your feedback on the exercise. And what I want you to do is I want you to draw a timeline out and have 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. Just a straight line with those things on.
Are we going vertically or horizontally?
Whatever you want, my lovely. Whatever you want, Mary. And how did I know you were going to ask that? So, see, it's got to be black and white, Joe. So
how much do I need to fit in? Because I know if I go across, then I'll have to scribble it out and do it long.
Don't worry, because you're probably not going to be able to fit much on here, because I'm going to ask you something, and it's to illustrate a point more than anything else. So don't worry. This is not a critical part of the program. Okay. So the critical part comes later, when I will be testing you and giving you marks. So let's think about, as a little exercise to start with, if someone said to you, what do you want to achieve in 3 months? What do you want to achieve in 6 months? What do you want to achieve in 9 months? What do you want to achieve in 12 months? Put down things under each of those headings. What are you laughing at, Joe?
It's just, it's hard, isn't it? Because
yeah
3 months, I never think 3 months in advance. I guess I always think too far in advance and think of this like really fit, healthy me. And because it's so far in the future, it's always in the future, so it never actually happens.
Great. That's great, because then you don't have to do the work to get there. Brilliant.
Exactly.
Great tactic. I love it. It's like, that's like New Year's resolutions, to be honest. So it's interesting, isn't it? So that was your experience of having a think at this. Mary, what did you notice about doing it this way, doing this?
Yeah, I found that very useful, but I've been sort of thinking about this for a while, so probably a little bit of a head start. But
Good.
I've got my 3, 6, and my 9, and I've got my 12 months all planned out now.
Brilliant. Now, looking at what you've got down there,
Yes.
what categories would you put some of those things in? Are they all in the same category? Are they all work related? Are they life related? Are they relationship related? Are they, how clear are they?
A mixture. 2 are work related, and 2 are like personal related.
Okay. So it's interesting when we do this, which is typically how most people set goals. They go, what do I want to accomplish in 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months. And some people find longer term easier. Some people, like me, can't see beyond the 3 months. Anything 12 months out is just like a dream or a pipe dream, I feel. But the 3 months, I can just about see that far ahead. It's 90 days. It's one of my best self journals. So I can, focus on that. I've got a planner that covers that. So I'm more comfortable doing that. But if I go to 6 months, I'm like, how do I know what's happening by then? It depends on too many things. How do I know what's happening by 9 months, by 12 months? And by the time I've got to the end of that line, I'm just feeling it's a complete exercise in futility. Now, that might be just me, but the same thing happens to me when I'm setting goals. So we are going to look at another way of doing goals tonight, which is a lot more meaningful, brings up items that we can actually achieve and things that we actually want to achieve and will make a meaningful difference to our lives. Whoa, that sounds a bit of a big promise, doesn't it? Can you tell I'm excited about this approach? So now this is going to be the challenging bit. Okay, I need you to take a clean piece of paper. And Mary, I've got an example. It's a badly drawn example, but I've got an example to show you. So, because I thought I might need that. Okay. So what I want you to do is draw a circle and split it into 6 segments. But by each segment, you need enough space to put a heading and 1, 2, 3 bullet points.
Okay.
Okay.
Hmm.
Is that any questions? Please ask. So it's a circle, 6 segments, and on the outside of each segment, just have enough space that you can put a heading and 3 bullet points. Okay, that's all. And it took me about 3 goes to do it. So if you have to do more than one, don't worry. The first one, I was too squashed on one of my segments. So. And you can also have another piece of paper nearby where you can just jot down anything that won't fit in this circle, okay? So you don't miss anything, because sometimes we have a lot to put in this circle and it doesn't all fit inside the segment. And then it's good to have an overspill page, okay? Now, I bet you're desperate to know what the 6 segments are, aren't you? I'm going to tease you, and I'm only going to give them to you one at a time.
Okay.
Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through a step-by-step process, because this is a powerful way to do it. And it means you only have to do one thing at a time, which I don't know, this time in the evening, I find really helpful. So what I would like you to do is pick one of the segments to start with. I don't mind which one. And I want you to label that as pride. Pride, as in a pride of lions, or as in being proud of yourself. And this segment is about self-pride. So if we think about that, I'd like you to think of all the things that give you the sensation of reveling in the success of achievement. Okay. So what are some of the things that you do or can do that would enable you to revel in the sense of achievement? Now, it could be professional, like I got that complex spreadsheet done, or I managed that tough meeting with someone. It could be personal. So for me, it would be, I actually managed to draw a dodo today. I know, it's amazing. Who knew I could draw a dodo? But there we go. So it's whatever, when you look at it or think about it, you feel a sense of pride. Okay. So what are the things that give you that feeling of reveling in the success of achievement? What gives you that feeling? And like I said, it could be professional, personal, could be in relationships. I made someone smile today. Yeah, it could be something that simple. This morning, I'd run out of coffee. My neighbour brought some around. So I made a pot and I went round to hers and we drank it together and just had a lovely morning chatting. And it made her so happy and so relaxed. She's been rather stressed lately. And that made me feel proud. I felt proud that I did that. So it can be anything. So just in that segment, just put lots of things in there. Okay. And then what I'd like you to think about is, what can you take from that list and think, how could I turn that into a goal? So I know that in the next 3 to 6 months, I'm going to have a sense of achievement. I'm going to feel successful. And what I'd like you to do is, you've got the numbers 1, 2, 3 there. I'd like you to think 1 is, I will definitely achieve this. 2 is, that's my target. I'd be really happy if I did that. And 3 is, this is the stretch. This is the one that I probably won't get, but I'm going to go for it. I'm going to aim for it. And I'll just share some examples with you. For me, in that section, for my first one, I said one of the things I'm going to do for achievement is I'm going to draw a complete alphabet of animals in my own style, and I'm going to get it done. Probably my aim is to get it done within 3 to 6 months. And I know it's achievable if I focus on it. And I know if I can draw a dodo, I can draw anything. Thank you very much. So I can do that. I've got lots of objectives, but I know if I do, each time I do one of those animals, I'm going to feel a little buzz of achievement. And I've got some done already, so I'm not starting from zero. Okay, so that's my first one. My second one is actually on a different topic. My second one is a target is to have at least 4 people taking part in confident leader programs and events on a regular basis. So that's a target. I'm not 100% sure I'll achieve that. But hey, I've got 2. Yay. So that's good. Okay. And then my stretch one is within 6 months to have enough people participating in confident leader stuff on a paid basis, I can cut down my day job work hours. That's a stretch one. But you see how they're kind of slightly in different areas. Mm. Okay. So one is something that you know you'll definitely achieve. Okay. The next one is something I'd like to achieve, and I think it's possible if the wind's in my favor and nothing bad happens and there's no sudden changes or 4th lockdowns or anything. And the last one is your stretch goal. It's like kind of, that's the one, boy, if I could do that, it would make a real difference. But I'm not going to put that as my number 1 goal, because then if I don't achieve it, I'll feel depressed. Okay. Let me know when you've got three of those written down. And they don't have to be massive things. They can be tiny little things. They're just things that will make, if you achieve them, you'll feel a sense of success and achievement that will make you feel good. You'll feel proud of yourself. So Jo, one of yours might be a fitness and health one.
Yeah.
It might be, we're going to eat a meat-free meal once a week.
Okay. Yeah.
Something as simple as that.
Yeah, my stretch one is walking 11,000 steps at least once a week. Because I know I can do it once at the weekend, but why
Brilliant.
can't I twice? Why can't
Brilliant.
I do it in the middle of the week or something?
Yeah.
But I know some weeks I won't be able to do, so it's a stretch. So if I do it at least once, it's achievable.
That's right. Okay.
Is this going in one of the triangles?
This is, well, on yourself, you got one of the segments is where you wrote down all the ideas. So you've got the 1, 2, 3 above the segment.
Okay.
That's where they go in. The 1 is the definitely achievable. 2 is the target. 3 is the stretch. Okay. Good question. So if you see here, what we can do, Joe, is we can be, this is my kind of achievable goal, number 1, but there's my fearless goal.
Yeah.
Is number 3. So I've got them both there. Okay. And the very first thing we're looking at is what makes us proud of ourselves. A very different focus to what most goal setting's about. Because a lot of the time, our goals are about for other people. Okay. Right. Are you ready to move on to another segment?
Yes.
Okay. So let's take the next segment, which is, oh, yeah, it's a good one. This one's called security. And what I want you to do in this segment is write down, what is it important? What's important to you in here about security? So it could be work related, money related, relationship related. It could be about having things. What in here, what are some of the things that are important to you for you to feel secure? So for me, it's having enough money to pay the bills reliably and predictably. Okay. Having a car that works, having spare money so I can fix it. That's at the very basic level. And then, but there's other things as well. For me to feel really secure, I need to also know that I've got time to do my art. I need to also know I've got time to be creative. You know, so that's actually quite important for my security. I also really value my brother and sister. That's a kind of emotional security during lockdown. We've had the Zoom calls. And it's one of those things that I didn't realize I needed till we did it. But it made you think, you know, now you can't go and see them. It kind of matters a bit more. So I felt that kind of emotional security was important to me as well. So you can cover different things on there. So just jot down a few things about what's important to you, what makes you feel secure. What are the kind of things that will make you feel secure? Okay. And so what are some of the things you're jotting down in there that you're happy to share?
Quality time with my daughter, because she spends half her time with her dad. So the time that we have together, I don't want it to just be a blur of like, do this, do that. Quality time and nice walks makes me feel really secure that we've got a good relationship.
Yes.
And then it's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, isn't it? I need a mortgage and I need all that stuff.
Yes. Yep. And that's fine to put that in there. That's brilliant to have that in there, because quite often we forget about the basics when we're goal setting.
Yeah.
And we need to have the basics there. Okay, good. Now, what I want you to think about is, how would you put that in an order of 1, 2, and 3? And it's okay to have kind of more than one thing. So definitely achievable, target, and stretch. What are you going to put in for this one for security? So at the moment, because I want to focus on trying to build my business, what's definitely achievable for me is I'm running my my living costs down to a certain level. Yeah. So kind of, there's a word for it and it's totally gone out of my head now. It's part of being blonde. The discretionary spending is not happening for the next 3 months. Yeah. So, and that's fine. I've agreed that with myself. So what's definitely achievable is I'm totally living within my means for the next 3 months. And that's definitely achievable. No discretionary spending, because that will free up funds for some of the other stuff I want to do. Okay. I know that sounds silly, but that means if I do that, I don't have to worry about the living expenses because my income covers those, as long as I don't go mad. Okay. The target would be to either have another day job or to have more income coming in. And I've set a level for that for my target. And I think it's probably achievable. And then the stretch is to be running completely my own business and have make enough money on that so that I don't have to do a day job. There we go.
Nice.
That's my stretch one. So, well, who knows, Joe? This could be the beginning, not of Women in Leadership International, but Women in Leadership UK. You know, this could be the beginning of it. Okay, so
I like that.
We've all got to start somewhere, haven't we? So, and I have a different approach, so I know I won't be poaching anything. So, you know. So has anybody got anything they're happy to share on that one?
For the security.
Yep.
So I've got starting a new job.
Oh, yes.
That's going to bring in the consistent finances, which is really important to me, to be able to pay the bills, like you're saying. My second one is to build up relationships at my new work.
Oh, that's a good one. Yes, that's a good one. Yes.
Because part of my security is having a safe place to express my emotions. And also in that one is building up my knowledge for the new job of things I don't know. And the third one, which is my stretch one, is expressing my emotions at work safely and working with my horse.
Okay, good. And you see, our goal will be different depending where we are in our life right now. Joe, what did you have down for yours that you're comfortable sharing?
I had definitely achieve a holiday with Ellie somewhere.
Oh, that'd be good.
Just the two of us, even if it's camping somewhere, just, you know, some more quality time. Target was to get a promotion or a new job with an income of at least 50k.
Brilliant.
And then my stretch target is to save 500 quid a month.
Okay. And did you ever get in touch with that lady I gave you about the interviewing?
No, you didn't give me anyone about
I thought I did.
No.
Oh, well, I've got someone to give to you. So
okay, cool.
I'll ping you. I thought I'd done that. It's one of those things that sometimes I write a message and I don't necessarily hit send. Oh, sorry. Absent-minded professor. That's one of my goals in life. Which circle does that go in? So right. So now we've got some goals for security. Now it starts getting really, really interesting now. You might start noticing something that's coming up. And again, so here, the next segment is connection. What connections are important to you? Connections to clients, colleagues, there you go, Mary, people, yourself, a connection to purpose. What connections matter to you? Okay. And you're going to set your intentions here. What are the connections that matter to you? And I think we're already starting to see these come out, but let's put them in this section. And you'll start to see that there's, for some things, there's starting to be a little bit of reiteration of certain elements. And it's interesting because connections piece, we often all get the security bit, you know. Maybe we make it a bit too future focused and we forget about the basics, but we often get that. But when we start thinking about what's important to me in terms of connections, what do I want to make sure I do in terms of these? And so one of the things I realized about myself here is that I need to have better connections with clients after doing things. So the connection's sustained. I need to have more available for people to do again and to continue on a path. And that connection's important to me. And it's one I'm not always as focused on as I could be. So there's that. Also, as I mentioned, the family connections, very important to me. But also, on one of the other webinars, I've talked about the introvert extrovert thing. Being an introvert, my connection with myself is really important. And if I don't have that, everything falls apart. So that goes in there as well. And then thinking about the 1, 2, 3, that first one for me is essential. Because without that, everything else falls apart. I can't care for other people if I'm not caring for myself. So that connection goes in there first, even though it feels a little bit wrong because I feel guilty putting it there. So what connections are really important to me? And again, thinking what's definitely achievable, what's target, what's stretch. And the thing is, you can create lots of goals here. I could do a 1, 2, and 3 just about caring for, just about connecting to myself. So this is a very flexible model. We're doing it at the very simple level, but you can take it to the next level and add things in if you want afterwards. The process is we put in each segment what matters to us and what's important to us, and then we create the 3 levels of goal that we want to accomplish. And we end up with very different things to what we would have in our straight line goal creation. We end up with a much more holistic approach. Okay, so what are some of the things you're coming up with there that you're happy sharing? Mary, do you want to say anything you want to share?
Yep. I've got diarised Zoom calls with various members of my family. There's one who we speak about every 2 weeks. The other rest of my family, it's much more sporadic. So to be a bit more intentional with that, and diarise time for my self-care. Give myself a day kind of off. 2 is to build friendships. So that's a slower process. And work with my horse. And 3 is to build connections with my work colleagues.
Right, yeah, because that's a longer journey and you're just starting to get to know them. Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. Good. And you see already there's some overlap with the previous one. Yeah, which is interesting. And I'll tell you why that's so important later on.
Good.
So, Joe, did you want to share anything that came to mind while you were doing that? Was there anything that surprised you or came up?
Well, what's important to me is the connections to do with work and what I'm doing, and making sure it's ethical and social justice and all those kind of things. So those connections. And so my stretch target are about building more relationships with people, in that sector, because I am in that sector, but I've got lots of sort of connections, but not on a deeper level. I need to have more deeper conversations with people.
Right.
Progress, stuff like that, I think.
Good one. Okay. So it's fairly logical that after looking at connections, the next segment would be self-care. Yes, because it's linked. Now, self-care, what we're looking at here is physical, emotional, mental, spiritual. Okay. So it's all those factors. So jot down what's important to you, what matters to you, what makes a difference to you in terms of self-care. So, for example, I would put running for me down as mental self-care, not physical. Because actually what happens is I come back from that. I've been out with my dog. We've been focused, just the 2 of us out in the woods for an hour. Whether I'm walking or running really doesn't make much difference. I feel a little bit of pride for running, obviously. So that's where a little bit of pride comes in there in terms of the reveling in the success of the running. But the actual running itself, the self-care aspect, I think is more mental, possibly emotional as well. So, so that's part of the self-care process for me. So yes, I've been unwell, as you know. So yesterday I did a 5-kilometer walk with my dog. And it was snowing and it was icy. But by about halfway through, I'm like, yeah, this is good. And it resets my mind. So we do that. So interestingly, what seems to get the spiritual side going is long conversations with particular friends where we talk about stuff like that. I've got various friends who are different, some of whom are different religions, some of whom are different spiritualities. And it's just being able to talk to people about that kind of thing is just fascinating. It's talking about something bigger than yourself. And I find that works really well for my self-care. So there's different things here. For me, physical is not eating the whole box of green and black chocolates that my sister gave me for Christmas. So in fact, I've given some of it away already. So, but self-care is interesting. I was working with a group of mums once, and we were talking about self-care. And one of them had a little light bulb moment. She said, self-care would be actually giving away the cake that my mum makes for us, or inviting friends around and sharing it so I don't fall into the trap of eating it all. And she came up with that as a very practical thing to do.
Yeah.
So so what kind of things are you putting down under self-care?
Similar to you in a sense. It's the long walks, and that is the mental, definitely the mental. Talking to certain friends, who are your kind of, who get you, who are, you can call it your tribe, your gang, whatever, it's easy. You just be you and don't have to try. And as I've got older, I have curated my friends list, so it is just like people that are just on my wavelength, and just making time for me, because you've got all these personas within your life. You're like a full-time employee, you're a mum, you're a girlfriend, you're all these different things, and it's like you're always giving, and you've just got to give yourself back. And even if that's, again, chopping wood or something just like that, it's just, and that's kind of spiritual as well, because it makes you just be in the moment. It's kind of like a meditation.
That's it.
Not a meditation, but
yeah,
riding my motorbike, that is like a form of meditation.
Oh, there you go, riding the motorbike. Yeah. Now, I know for Mary, being with your horse is supposed to be a meditation, but Mary's got Tinkerbell, so it's not so much a meditation, is it, Mary?
Not yet.
Not yet, but we're aiming for it. But yeah, it's very important. Now, one of the other things about self-care, remember, is actually, maybe if you're giving in all those areas, let's look for where you can give the other people and other places opportunities to give back to you. That would be self-care as well. So talking to your partner about what you would like from them and how they can make you happy, that would be considered self-care. That kind of thing. I was talking with a friend of mine. I was going, I'm really upset about this, this, and this. She said, why are you even talking to them? They're not your tribe. Oh, okay, yeah, fine. Yeah, good point. Mary, what did you have there? What were some of the things you were coming up with?
Some of them are very practical.
Good, that's good.
It sound a bit silly, but I've been trying to get into a routine of like putting face cream on my face morning and evening.
Yeah, that's brilliant.
And doing my like eye cream.
Yeah.
So that's very practical, but
yeah,
it's amazing how hard it is to keep up with it.
Yeah, I don't do that.
Yeah, no, I know. That's a really good one. I had when I went through this goal setting process, I've now got the target of washing up at least once a day.
Can you on that?
I hate washing up, but I also hate the state the kitchen gets into, and it's been a conflict. So it's now once a day, just once a day, just do it once a day, and it's amazing the difference it makes. Yeah. So good one. I love that. Practical things, brilliant. So yep.
And then I put take my vitamins.
Yeah.
Again, not difficult, so I don't know why I can't do it. And then I've have conversations with people. That's a bit more in my like to achieve, because I don't have a tribe per se. So that will click into my connections one, where I'm trying to make friends and build relationships.
Yeah, I'm already in your tribe, Mary, so.
Oh, thank you.
I've known you quite a while now. I'm already in your tribe, so that's all right.
It's been a while.
Yeah. So something about this self-care thing we often find quite hard, but I'm really delighted you went with some of the practical stuff, Mary, because sometimes we get a bit too esoteric with things as well. So, and you can see how our thinking's starting to shift as we're going. One has to be achievable, one's a target, one's a stretch. We're coming up with things that are highly likely to actually happen. And how does that make you feel when you've got a goal that you think that's highly likely to happen? You're like, whew, I'm going to achieve something. So it's a completely different dynamic to the usual goal setting. So after self-care, well, what's interesting is there's another one, and you won't believe what the next segment is. The next segment is excitement. Where do I get excitement in my life? Now, this was the one that really opened my eyes to this whole process. I found a lot of value in the previous sections. When we got to this one, I realized that my life has become a little bit of a get up in the morning, go and do the horses, go and walk the dog, come back, do this, do that, do this, do that, got that to do, got that to do, got that to do, do that. And when you've got a day off, by the way, you should be doing your art and you're doing this. And I'm like, where is my excitement? So, oh, it's Christmas. Yeah, seriously, come on. Yeah. And the thing is, the excitement is such a key part of getting those positive chemicals going in our brain and firing our neurotransmitters. Where do we get the excitement? Now, by excitement, I don't mean the excitement that when a horse is charging at you and you think, I'm not going to get out of the way in time. That's a different kind of excitement. Or when you feel that back wheel skid on the motorbike, it's starting to slide.
That's not excitement.
I'm not talking about that kind of excitement. I'm talking about it's much harder now in lockdown as well. It's like the excitement when you knew you were going out to the theatre. You had something to look forward to, something that kind of gets you motivated. It's like it's kind of the dopamine event. It's what motivates you, what excites you to do things. So it could be that having a successful something, it could be a link with success, but also there's other things. So for example, a very simple thing for me, which is achievable, and I've just started doing it, is I've charged up my Bluetooth headphones again, and I've made a playlist of some of my favorite music for bopping around to while I'm washing up and stuff. Right? Put them on, set the music loud, do it. And it's a real, and it's like, and I look forward to that. It's changed the dynamic of the washing up for me. And it's just, part of me went, but that's silly to be excited about that. I went, no, you can be excited about this. So that's my achievable thing, to do that at least twice a week. That sounds silly, doesn't it? But it's just something very simple that gets my excitement going, and then I'm a little bit energized and I feel better about it.
Yeah, it's so true. Like the first lockdown, I realized I was working so hard, I wasn't listening to any music. And then my daughter put something on in the kitchen when I was cooking, and we were dancing in the kitchen. I'm like, why don't I do this more?
That's it. See, one of the things about this approach to goal setting is it catches all those things we've forgotten about ourselves. We don't think about. So what brings excitement into your life? And it could be, do you know what, when those daffodils start coming out, I'm going to do an essential drive which goes along a route where there's lots of daffodils. Yeah, it could be something like that. It could be, for me, for example, yesterday I was excited about going for an hour-long walk, me and my dog. It's having those things to look forward to positively that makes such a difference. So what are those things? What are you excited about? And some of this might be like right now, because you've got the new job, the new people, you've got things like that are exciting. Or it might be, do you know what, when do I get excited? I get excited when I have a new television series that's coming on. I get excited when I know I'm going to learn something. I don't know what it's going to be for you. But what is it that actually gets you going, gosh, I'm excited about this?
That's really hard.
It's much harder now than it would be if we were doing this a year ago, I think.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't have time to be excited. I'm just in survival mode.
Right.
Yeah. finding this really hard. I'm like, even TV, I'm struggling with to focus and get the plot. We just started watching a new TV series, which is series 2, and I really enjoyed series 1. And this one, I'm just like, what's going on?
Yeah.
I've just lost all focus at the moment.
I totally get you, because
really
I'm not reading the books I used to read. I'm not watching the television series I used to read. And so what I've done, and this might sound silly, is I plan my excitement for my days off.
Yeah.
On my work days, it is get up, go do the horses, walk the dog, come back, do the work, maybe do a little bit of Facebook in between times so you can keep up on various things and keep things going, jot down ideas. And then, like yesterday, my excitement was, do you know what? I'm going to, I've got the dog walk, then I had crumpets and hot chocolate when I got back, and then I watched an episode of George Clark on Amazing Spaces. I sound 75, but there we go. But so I think you're right, Mary. We're so much in the survival mode right now. We need to find out, can we diarize some time on a day off? Like if you've got that day just for you, if you've blocked out some time for you, is there something you can do there that you actually would look forward to, rather than, well, I've got this time blocked out, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it. So for example, there's a series on television with David Tennant and Michael Sheen. It's called Staged, and it's a Zoom conversation between them about putting a play together, and it's little 10-minute segments, and it's hilarious. And I resisted watching it, even though my sister told me how great it was. I thought I'd watch one, and it is brilliant and hilarious. And it's difficult to do that when you're head down, do the grind. But if you've got a day where you've got some time blocked out for you, what can you put in that time that's something you'll actually look forward to? Whether it's sitting in the bed with the cat eating an orange. Because right now, that's where we're at, I think.
Yeah.
So something that you would look forward to. Now, you might not be able to fill that out now, but it might be, maybe your achievable goal is to identify something I can do in my diarised time off that I will look forward to. Maybe that's the goal, to actually identify something.
I think for me, it's feeling like, oh my God, that's something else I've got to put in my diary. I've got to find a time to be excited. I'm like, oh gosh, this is my excitement time. Like, okay, great. Right. So I was excited for an hour. Tick. That's great. Done that.
Okay.
That's kind of how it's feeling at the moment.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yes, makes perfect sense.
Which is really sad, but.
No, it's true. If it's genuine and true, it's not sad. It's you. So. I
need excitement in my life, clearly.
Yeah. Well, you know what? You've got the main piece of excitement. You're working with me.
There you go. There you are. I'll put Zoom calls with Kathy.
There you go. There you go. But it's interesting. We often find one of these segments harder than the others, which could be a reflection of where we are now, etc. Okay.
Interesting.
Right. How many segments have we done?
5.
Right. So the 6th one is support. What resources and support do you have or do you need in order to have any chance of accomplishing some of these goals? So what support systems do you need to have included in your goals in order to be able to do this? Now, a couple of people phrase these in terms of negatives. I need to not mess up my relationship with my best friend because she's the one I rely on for stuff. You know, I need to, someone else said, I need a birthday calendar because that, you know, it just, I know my life's challenging at the moment, but that's the least my friends expect from me and I want their support. So I need to make sure I give back. So that was something someone else came up with. But what resources and support do I need to maintain and sustain in order to be able to achieve some of these other goals? I mean, we've put friendships down. So what do we need to do? So I put down my bestest friend, Ellie. She's my bestest friend. We've known each other since we were 11. And she's vital. She's vital. I mean, she works hard. She's a teacher and she's really stressed at the moment. But first thought is always to see what I'm doing and how I am. So I really want to make sure I always have that support there. So my first one is maintaining connection with a few key people. Okay. the target one is I've got a list of people that I'm going to regularly connect with. So for example, I've actually come up with an idea that every week I'm going to send a card to someone.
Oh, that's nice.
Because I've got loads of cards. And you smile, Mary. You're on the list. You're going to get one. So, so yeah.
Be
so,
like sending my address now.
Yeah. So, but once a week, sending a card out. All I have to do is write "Thinking of you, love, Kathy." It doesn't have to be a big letter. Just something like that. I think would be a good thing to do. And then my mentoring, working with my mentor, because I get more stuff done when I work with her. And then the stretch is to have a network of friends, and for me to develop into the person who doesn't need to plan the connecting, but I do it naturally and easily, and it's a part of my life. And I'm not used to that. I'm used to being a bit of a loner. So that's a self-development stretch goal. So those are my support things. Now, other people have technical support. Yeah, I need, in order to achieve my security goal of this income, I need to, I need to talk to someone who knows how to operate this software. So they could be pragmatic ones as well. So what support do I need? Now, you might notice there's a fair bit of overlap amongst these things. Okay. So I'm not going to ask you to necessarily share your support ones, because there's probably quite a lot of personal stuff in there. But how has now we haven't finished yet, by the way. We're close, because we've got the what. This is what we want to achieve. And of course, the next step is to sign up for my 2-year program on how to do it. No, we will start looking at the how. But one of the things to look at is looking at this process. How is this process different from goal setting you've done before, or that linear process we started with? What are you noticing that's different about this process?
It's completely different. It's, I guess, because we've got all those you can definitely achieve, it feels, yeah, achievable. In my 3, 6, 9, 12, it was vague, keep sane, plant the garden, get a new job. But these are, I've got 6 things which I can definitely achieve already.
Yeah.
And it's all about, it's come from me and it's for me. It's not what I think I should be doing for other people.
Oh, yes, not what I think I should be doing. Brilliant. Yeah. And this is what happens when we start doing it linearly. That linearity sometimes constrains us. Now we got that. Mary, what's your experience of doing this process versus standard goal setting or the linear version?
Yes, I like what Joe said about it's for me, not what I think I should be doing. I like that phrase, and I found it, I think harder than I thought I would. Like the pride and the excitement obviously were my harder ones, but yeah, it looks much, there's much more writing on my page than there was on the linear one, so definitely breaking it down more into more achievable things and being a little bit more specific about what I really want in the long term, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And it is interesting to notice for ourselves which ones we found harder, which ones we found easier. Could be a factor of our life right now. As you said, Mary, if you're in survival mode, it's very hard to think of pride and excitement. But having them in the goals, maybe not necessarily for now, but for 3 months from now, 6 months from now, just means we don't forget them when the opportunity comes up. Yeah. So
interesting as well when he talks about the overlap, because I put some stuff in excitement, which I realized made me feel proud, but I hadn't put them necessarily in the pride bit at the beginning.
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
Yeah,
it's like layers. Don't ever say layers of an onion. My layers are always of a millefeuille.
Of a what?
A millefeuille, you know, lovely layers of puff pastry and cream and jam.
Ooh.
Not layers of an onion. That makes me cry. I want the millefeuille. So.
Mm. Okay.
So, yeah. Sorry, little thing there. So, okay, what next? Very, very important question is: what can we do with this now to make this as likely as possible to happen? What can we do? Any ideas on some things we can do to turn this circle and these goals in each thing and keep it front of mind and make it happen?
Well, I think you could write all your achievable things down and, you know, just as a reminder.
Yeah.
Have it. You'd have all the bits. You'd have the achievable, target, stretch. It just kind of needs to be in a different format for me.
Yep.
Anyway, to be able to like remember what I've said.
Absolutely. And I think to remember what you said is key. One of the big things, and it's interesting because I worked in an organization once where we changed the behavior of a whole division simply by having the 3 managers of the division say certain things and repeat them every day. Because it kept these behaviors front of mind. So they tried all kinds of things. I think they wanted people to coach each other and peer coach and give feedback. And they tried, you know, setting aside time for it. They tried the training, obviously, and they tried telling people, if you don't, this is what the bad things that will happen. But what actually worked was when we coached the 3 managers and we said, right, here's some random pieces of paper with random times on. In 10 minutes, go out there and just say to someone, how's the feedback going? Listen to their answer, talk to them, come back. Right, pick another piece of paper, 25 minutes, right? Set your watch, out you go 25 minutes from now, go and ask someone else this question. How's the peer coaching going? By mentioning it during the day to the team went, oh, this really matters. This is front of mind. This is important. So how can you keep these goals front of mind? Because what will happen is unconsciously, your unconscious mind, oh, this is what we're working on. And you'll notice things. You know how when someone says, you know, if you want a red car, you'll see 100 red cars on the road. Okay. So same thing, same principle. We're going to put this keep this in front of your mind. So having, for example, your achievables on one color Post-it note, your targets, and then your stretches, and just having those all on the fridge, for example, which you see every day as you open it. Just that. So you see them every day. Your unconscious will start noticing things that will get you closer to those goals and be more inclined to act on them. Yeah. And so that's a big thing that you can do. Now, one of the other things is don't be scared to move them around. So if something that you've got is definitely achievable, you're thinking, actually, the situation's changed, it's now a target, move it across into the target column. Okay. Another thing you can do is you can look for where your goals are repeated. So for example, if I look at mine, my connection with family and friends is way up there. It's in 3 segments. It's under self-care, it's under connection, and it's under support. Actually, families, my sister and that are under security as well. So it's in 4 segments. So what does that mean? That means it's the top priority set of goals. Now, guess what? That hasn't been, because I thought I have to do this bit of work. I have to do that and have to do that. Oh, now it's too late to phone. Now it's too late to do this. I haven't put it as a priority, but it's in 4 of my goal segments. So maybe it should be. So have a look at what's in more than one of these segments. And think about that as well in terms of prioritizing. What, are you surprised at anything that's not in your goals doing it this way? Is there anything not in your goals that you're like, do you know what? I'm very surprised that's not in there.
Not so much what's not in there, but what is in there, perhaps.
Okay, what's surprising you there, Joe?
Well, going back to pride and excitement and connection, it is about helping people and volunteering and stuff like that, which I know I do. Like, I go to Calais once a year kind of thing, and I know I get a massive buzz from that and feel good and raise loads of money and stuff, but I didn't realize how intrinsic it is to feelings of self.
Yeah, it's interesting, and that's something that when we spend a long time in survival mode, and Mary, you and I have talked about this, it erodes those other things.
Yeah,
we forget them. Yeah. And one of the reasons I started doing the Confident Leader journey is, regardless of whether it becomes a world encompassing thing and changes my life, is this is so rewarding to me doing this, that whether I'm doing another job or not, that this is so rewarding. And I'd lost sight of that until I did that How to Get Out of Your Own Way challenge, Joe, that you signed up for, the first one.
Yeah.
And I did that and I went, whoa, why have I not been doing this? I've been missing this. So you lose sight of those things because you're just grinding away at stuff. And it doesn't matter so much whether you can do it now, but what matters is it's on the radar, so that when you get an opportunity, you can do it. So I have a friend who used to do an awful lot of volunteering before the first lockdown, and she gets a lot of kicks out of volunteering and everything. And then lockdown happened, and she was like, she wasn't eligible for furlough. She's self-employed. She wasn't eligible for any of the grants from that. So she had to go and get some other work to do that. And it was, everything was about survival. And we were talking, she says, I miss the volunteering. And she's now signed up with the NHS Volunteer Responders Org, and she's a befriender on the phone.
Wow.
And she chats to people on the phone, which she can fit around her work. She can do from home. And she has I think she only has 2 people that she talks to. And it makes her feel good. And she says, she gets to the end of a work day, doesn't want to do it, doesn't want to pick the phone up. But after talking to them, she sits back and she just goes,
that was good. Yeah.
Yeah. And so, it's interesting that we do lose sight of these things because of that, but it's also how maybe there are some creative ways we can fit some of these in, or if the opportunity comes up, we notice it and then we can seize it. So it's like, so it's a very different process. Now, of course, the next thing would be, how are we going to keep track of whether you're actually following through on any of these? So I have a suggestion to you. I hate accountability stuff, so I don't call it accountability partners. I call it achievement partners. Okay. And I have a suggestion. I'll finish off my circle and tidy it up. And if you two do yours, I'll just create a little messenger group and we can ping each other our circles. Okay.
Yep.
And then it's not like we're going to chase each other about it. It's just like when we talk, we can ask how it's going. We can mention if we're getting stuck with something, and just do that. And as I said, I'll put mine up as well. I'll have to tidy it up so you can read my writing. But oh God, this is making me nervous now that I'm actually going to do that. But it's not about accountability. It's about just sharing with each other what helps, what hinders. And it also means then if we identify anything that's getting in the way, we can work on it together. Okay. And don't ever feel scared about changing your goals. If things around you change, then change your goals. I mean, I had a goal of doing certain stuff with my horses this week. That didn't happen. Because of the weather, there was an external factor that came in that knocked that out. So, so that didn't happen. Okay. And that's the other thing we can support each other on, is if we're not making progress, we can just validate that external stuff. Okay. Now, there are times and places when SMART goals work. SMART goals are brilliant for something that you need measured for performance reasons. Mm-hmm. So, Mary, absolutely go with you on that. SMART's good for that. SMART is also good for making sure that your level 1 goal is appropriate? Is it specific enough? Will you know when you've achieved it? Is it achievable? Is it realistic and relevant? And is there a timeline on it? So that's your kind of level 1 piece. It's really useful for that. Now, when you get to your level 3 stretch goal, maybe certain parts of, maybe it's smart. It's you know, rather than smart, because putting a timeline on could make you feel defeated. So that one's got to be a bit more bespoke to you in the situation. Okay. I
was just thinking, in terms of my new job and my new role is going to be very much sort of a kind of around this thing. We've got a very, very young team, as in literally in the early 20s, you know, sort of no life experience. In that case, I'm thinking the SMART would be quite helpful for them to start off with, to get them into the process. And this is almost kind of like an advanced course, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, I'd agree with you, because initially, you know, sometimes we need structure and then we can move beyond it.
Yeah.
So SMART goals are very useful for putting a framework and structure around something. It's a bit like the ideas process we've worked on, Mary. It's a very good process for doing things and coming up with decisions. But you know, as you get more experience, you can be a bit more fluid with it. And this does require a certain amount of thinking. You can do it with younger people, but the goals will tend to be slightly different. So but it can be important from the holistic point of view. If you've got a young team, Mary, and they need any training, you do know a trainer here, so you know.
I know.
I'm touting for business. So now I call this program meaningful goal setting. What would you call it now we've gone through this process?
It's holistic and it's achievable. So it's kind of, it doesn't feel like goal setting. It's life path setting.
Okay, that's a good one.
You know, I don't feel that these achievable ones and the targets, all the stretches, are goals in the traditional sense.
Yeah.
It's more like, if I want to go down the path of living my authentic life, these are the things that I need to do to get there.
Ooh, part of your authentic life. Wow. Yeah. Now, Mary, how would you describe it?
I wanted to go with the word advanced, but I do like the holistic thing. I'm just thinking there's probably, I'd say advanced because I think there's more emotion in this and more personal stuff versus like SMART target, which is very much, you know, I need to earn £5,000 in my work every month, that kind of thing. I need to bring in 10 more clients. So this is, but then we did say there's a difference between personal goal setting and corporate goal setting. So
I think in a way this process engages your emotional intelligence.
Yeah.
So you can do that. Now, one of the things to then think about is, how are you going to make them happen? So yes, we're going to share our pictures with each other and that kind of thing. But for example, so for me, it's keeping it front of mind, putting it up there. I also have gone back to using something I've used before. Hang on, let me just get it. It's the Best Self Journal. And it's basically 90 days. And what it's got a monthly thing and weekly thing, but on the daily issue, it's got, here are 3 things I'm going to do today. And what I can do is I can just keep track on the weekly thing. I use the weekly thing a lot more. And the weekly thing is each week I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. Have I done that this week? My weekly milestones and things like that. So if you've got your 11,000 steps for the week, so I've got, here are my key activities here and the days. So if I put walk 11,000 steps, it's like tick on a Wednesday. Yay, done it.
Yeah.
See that I haven't done it yet this week. So maybe I can make time on Saturday or Sunday or something like that. So some kind of structure for doing it can often help. Because also remember that links into that sense of pride and achievement. So there's a couple of things. Is how are you going to, yeah, I've done it this week. Check. I've done it this week. Check. I've done it this week. How are you going to actually celebrate that and feel proud for what you achieve? Because what's human nature? Human nature is, I know I did it for 7 weeks, but then I missed one. Oh my God, I'm such a bad person because I missed a week, you know. It's like, geez, you just did it for 7 weeks in a row. Yeah, so that perspective setting piece is quite important.
What's that journal you got there, Kathy?
Oh, this is the best self one. I went online and looked at a load. I'm thinking of producing my own next year because I can. So the best self one. It has quotes every day as well, which is nice. And so it has my diary planner down there and put meetings and things in. Got today's targets, reminder of my key goals, and what have I learned today? That one, I tell you that the first best self journal I got was hilarious because I looked back through it and it's like every day was, don't try to do so much. You know, manage your time better. It's like, oh, hang on a minute, don't commit to doing so much. And I just, I think there's a pattern here. And it's got a little place for, you know, this morning I'm grateful for, and this evening I'm grateful for.
Oh.
Which is a nice way when I wake up and starting the day, get me in a slightly more positive frame, and finishing the day. So, and I go through phases where I use it a lot, and then I go through phases where I don't use it. It's usually when I've got a lot of things to do and I don't want anything to slip that I use it. It's more important for me to be focused and that kind of thing. I have to admit, Mary, when I was in the heads down survival mode last year at certain stages, this kind of went out the window because it was just like, I just can't do that right now. I just have to get through. So it's a celebration that I'm using it again. So, but it's thinking about those things that will help. What will help you and what will be achievable. And how to get through that. But that would be the subject of another webinar maybe, or more conversations in the Facebook group. I mean, feel free to discuss this in the Facebook group. And if you'd be willing to pop a little review of this session in there, the webinar recording will be available to people. It's this month's free webinar. You were live, so you actually got to do it, which is great. Whereas the others will just get to watch it. And most of the time they'll see me talking. But when you're talking, they'll hear you as well. So I'd like to say thank you to you for sharing so much. And I hope the group appreciates that. And I'm going to stop the recording now.